I am 94 years old, and this chair I'm sitting in right now has held me longer than any person ever did. Let that settle for a moment. 94 years on this earth, and the longest relationship I've ever maintained is with a piece of furniture. I can hear the springs underneath me, low, tired little groans every time I shift my weight. The heater behind me hisses like it's trying to whisper something I already know. And this smell. You wouldn't know it unless you've lived it. The smell of old fabric and dust that's been baked into foam for decades. Warm dust. That's what my life smells like. Warm dust. My hand's resting on the armrest right now. The leather's worn so thin it feels like skin. Not new skin, old skin. My skin. There are dents in these cushions shaped exactly like me. Permanent ones. I couldn't smooth them out if I tried. This chair has memorized my body better than I ever memorized my wife's face. Better than I memorized my children's laughter. I sank into it a little more each year, and it held me the way I never held on to anything that mattered. You want to hear a scary story? I'll give you one. It's not about monsters or war or disease. It's about a man who sat down one day and never really stood back up. It's about comfort, and how it killed everything I could have been without leaving a single mark on my body. I want to tell you how that happened, because nobody warned me. And right now, right here, I am warning you. I was in my 30s when I first bought this recliner. 36, I think. Maybe 37. Back then, I called those years my rewarding years. I'd done my time. I'd put in the hours at a job I didn't love but didn't hate. Steady paycheck, decent house, 2 kids, a wife who was still smiling most of the time. I figured I'd earned something. I figured I'd earned the right to rest. That was the lie. The big one. The one that ate my life from the inside out like termites in a wall you never bothered to check. I earned the right to rest. My boss once offered me a promotion. Different department, more responsibility, more money. But it meant leading a team, speaking in front of people, making decisions that mattered. I remember standing in his office doorway and my stomach did a little flip, and I thought, why would I trade what I have for stress? So I said no. I thanked him. I told him I was happy where I was. I went home that night and I sat right here in this chair and I told myself I'd made the smart choice, the wise choice, the mature choice. It was the coward's choice. A few years later, my friend Dave came to me with an idea. He wanted to open a small hardware store on Route 9. Needed a partner. Needed someone to go in with him, split the risk. I remember Dave sitting at my kitchen table with a napkin full of numbers, eyes lit up like a kid on Christmas. And I sat across from him and I thought about what could go wrong. I thought about the mortgage, the kids' braces. I told Dave I couldn't do it. Too risky, I said. Too uncertain. Dave opened that store without me. Ran it for 22 years. Retired early. Traveled the world with his wife. I stayed in my chair. And then there was Margaret. My wife. My beautiful, patient, slowly disappearing wife. She was unhappy. I knew it. I could feel it the way you feel weather changing. A pressure in the air, a coldness that creeps under the door. She'd go quiet at dinner. She'd stand at the kitchen window with her hands in the sink long after the dishes were done, just staring at the yard like she was looking for an exit. I knew she wanted to talk. I knew she needed me to ask the hard question. What's wrong? What do you need from me? What have I failed to give you? But the television was on, and my chair was warm. And asking those questions meant I might hear answers I couldn't fix from a seated position. So I let her stand there, night after night after night. The smell of those microwave dinners still sits in my memory. Processed cheese and steam, and silence. The sound of the garage door closing every evening was the sound of another day's ambition sealed shut. And I'd think to myself, at least we're stable. At least nobody's fighting. As if the absence of conflict meant the presence of love. I mistook passivity for peace. And the arrogance of it. Lord, the arrogance. I truly believed that just showing up, just being present in the house, just existing in the same rooms as my family was enough. That sitting here, night after night, was the same as being a husband, being a father, being a man. It was not enough. It was never enough. And I know that now because of one night that broke everything open. One night I replay in my head more than any other. More than my wedding. More than the births of my children. One single Thanksgiving that taught me what I had become. 15 years ago, my dining room. I can still see it like I'm standing in the doorway. The table was set with Margaret's good china. The white plates with the pale blue edges she only brought out for holidays. There were candles lit, 2 of them sitting in brass holders that had gone a little green with age. The overhead light was dim because the dimmer switch had been broken for months and I'd never gotten around to fixing it. Another small thing I let slide. Another tiny surrender to comfort. My son Robert sat at one end. He was 48 that year, I think, maybe 49. Gray at the temples already. His wife beside him, polite and distant the way she always was in my house, like she was visiting a museum. My daughter Ellen was across the table, quieter than usual, watching everyone with those careful eyes she got from her mother. And then there was my grandson, Thomas, 16 years old, bright, restless, a guitar player who heard music in everything. The turkey was carved, the stuffing smelled like sage and butter. The cranberry sauce caught the candlelight and shimmered like something alive. Everyone's plates were full, and then Thomas said it. He said he wanted to drop out of school. He said he wanted to pursue music. Now, I want you to understand what happened next, because it happened in a silence so loud it still rings in my ears at night. Every single person at that table turned and looked at me. Every one of them. Robert, his wife, Ellen, even Thomas, whose jaw was set like he was ready for a fight. They all looked at the old man, the patriarch, the elder at the head of the table. They looked at me the way you look at a general before a battle, the way you look at someone who's supposed to know, someone who's been through it, someone who's fought and bled and survived and can tell you what the scars taught him. And I had nothing. I opened my mouth. I felt the air come into my lungs. And I realized, with a horror so deep and so total it felt like the floor was tilting beneath me, that I had no story to tell. No risk I'd taken. No failure I'd survived. No bold, stupid, beautiful leap of faith that either broke me or made me. I had nothing to offer this boy because I had never once in my life done the thing that terrified me. I had never fought for anything. Not for a dream, not for a business, not for my wife's happiness, not even for my own. The silence stretched. I could hear the candle flames flicker. I could hear someone's fork tap against the edge of a plate. I could smell the gravy cooling in the boat, getting thicker, getting still. Just like me. I looked down at my hands, old hands even then, soft hands, hands that had never been calloused by reaching for something hard, and I said nothing. Robert cleared his throat, quietly, gently, the way you handle something fragile, and he said, "It's fine, Dad. We'll handle it. We'll handle it. Not we'll handle it together. Not, what do you think, Dad? Just, we'll handle it." Like I was a lamp in the room, like I was furniture. The table resumed. Forks moved. Someone passed the bread. Ellen said something about the weather. And I sat there, hollowed out, scraped clean from the inside, while the smell of Thanksgiving, sage, butter, cooling gravy, melted candle wax, swirled around me like a funeral I was attending for myself. That was the night my children stopped asking me for advice. Not with an announcement, not with cruelty. They just quietly, gracefully, permanently stopped. Because they had never, not once in their entire lives, seen their father fight for anything. I went back to the living room after dinner. I sat down in this recliner, and it took me, the way it always does. The cushions gave way, the springs exhaled, and I disappeared into it. That was 15 years ago. Now I sit here in this dim room, and the house is so quiet I can hear the clock in the hallway ticking like a heartbeat that isn't mine. My children call me on my birthday. Robert calls it noon. Ellen calls it 6. They are polite. They are brief. They ask how I'm feeling, and I say fine, and they say good, and then someone mentions the weather, and then we hang up. 3 minutes, 4 at most. The conversations of strangers who share a last name. Thomas never asked me anything again. He didn't drop out, as it turns out. He finished school, became an accountant, put the guitar in a closet. I wonder sometimes if he needed just one person, one old, weathered, fire-tested voice to say, go, risk it. I did, and even when I failed, I lived. But that voice wasn't mine. It was never mine. And this chair, God, this chair. I look at these dents, these deep, permanent, body-shaped grooves pressed into the cushions, and they disgust me. They're a fossil, a mold of avoidance, a perfect cast of a man who chose softness until softness was all that was left of him. I press my hand into the armrest and my fingers fit into grooves they carved over decades. This chair knows me better than my children do. That's not poetry. That's a confession. Sometimes in the early morning I hear things. The phantom sounds of a full house. Small feet on hardwood. A cabinet closing in the kitchen. And Margaret humming. She used to hum while she folded laundry, this tuneless little melody that drove me crazy at 30 and would make me weep with gratitude now if I could hear it just one more time. She passed 8 years ago, and the conversation I never had with her, the one about her unhappiness, about her needs, about what I could have fought to become for her. That conversation sits in this room like a third person. Always here, always waiting, permanently unfinished. I lean my head back and I catch it, the faintest trace of my old cologne on the headrest, from years ago, maybe decades. It smells like someone who used to live here, a ghost wearing my clothes. I'm alive. My heart beats, my lungs fill. But the truest thing I will ever leave behind is the impression in this chair, more permanent than any legacy, deeper than anything I carved into the world. A dent in a cushion. That's my monument. Now I want to talk to you. Yes, you. The one watching this. The one sitting in your own chair right now, maybe. The one who's comfortable. The one who thinks rest is the goal. The one who chose the safe job, the quiet evening, the easy apology, or worse, no apology at all. The one who tells himself, tomorrow, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll say it tomorrow. I'll risk it tomorrow. You think the soft choice is the smart one? You think avoiding the hard conversation is the same as keeping the peace? You think staying comfortable means you're winning? I am 94 years old and I am telling you, comfort is a disease. It doesn't kill you fast. That's what makes it so dangerous. It kills you the way water wears down a stone. Slowly, gently, until one day there's nothing left but a smooth, featureless shape where something sharp and jagged and alive used to be. Get out of your chair. Tonight. Not tomorrow. Tonight. Say the hard thing to the person you love. Make the phone call that terrifies you. Take the risk that makes your stomach flip the way mine did in my boss's doorway 40 years ago. Except this time, say yes. Say yes and let it terrify you, and do it anyway. Your children are watching. Maybe not obviously, maybe not today, but they are building their understanding of courage by watching you. And if all they ever see is a man who sat down, who played it safe, who chose the quiet, easy, soft road every single time, they will stop asking you for guidance, I promise you that. They will handle it without you. And you will deserve it. Nobody is going to warn you that ease is eating you alive. Nobody sits you down and says, hey, you're disappearing. It just happens. One comfortable night after another until the cushion holds your shape and your family holds their questions, and the silence in your house sounds exactly like the silence in mine. Don't let the last thing you leave behind be a dent in a chair. Stand up.